Gary Stone began his radio career as an on-air personality at KIKN in Corpus Christi in 1969. Over the next several years, he made stops in several Texas markets, working at KOKE in Austin, KXOL in Fort Worth, and KIKK in Houston. The siren song of the sales department proved to be irresistible in 1977 when Gary signed on as an account executive at Spanish-language station KESS in Dallas. From there, he served as sales manager at Houston's KLAT, KIKK, and KMJQ. For 10 years, beginning in 2001, Gary ran Univision Radio as president and chief operating officer, overseeing the operation of 70 radio stations in the United States and Puerto Rico. During this time, Gary was recognized for developing a corporate culture rooted in innovation, ownership, accountability, and collaboration. Gary is currently the president and chief executive officer of Piedra Media, a national general market and multicultural digital social media marketing and radio broadcast consulting firm. He is the author of 2 books, For the Love of Radio and Mexican Food, and A Face for Radio. Please welcome to the Texas Radio Hall of Fame, Gary Stone.
You know, when I was working at Univision, all the television guys said, the reason you're not in television is because you have a face for radio. So be it. And that gave me the title of that song, of that book. So let me just start off by saying thank you to the Texas Radio Hall of Fame and to Neil Talmadge, who nominated me. Thank you, Neil. As well as Michael Harris. Thank you for those who voted for me, and I'm honored to be inducted into the Texas Radio Hall of Fame, particularly along with Paul Gleiser. I hadn't seen him since 1979 when we worked together at WFAA AM together. And I was saddened to hear about Harvey T's passing because he and I worked together at KIKK in the early 80s. And of course, Jay Jones, I knew him as I was in Houston when he was running and owned all those radio stations. Many of you may have known a guy named Henry Williams, known as Hank. He was on the air as Steve Gary. He was an advocate for me to get the votes for this honor that we're celebrating today. And when I received an award for 50 years of broadcast professionalism from the Austin Broadcasters Association, Henry passed away just a few weeks ago at the end of September. He was a friend of mine for 50 years. He programmed KVED, KVET, CASE, KASE, and KOKE, and he was the voice of the Texas Lottery, and he's very much missed. I want to especially thank my wife, Claudia. Now, she isn't here today because she has a serious illness and was unable to join us, that she's been battling for the last year. I want to thank my sons, Brian, Garrett, and his wife that are here today. Brandon, my other son, as well as my niece, Susan, and her husband, Dave. Particularly the guys that saw something in me that allowed me to move up in the company from 1985 to eventually becoming the president and CEO of Univision Radio, managing 75 radio stations across the country. Having spent 99% of my life living in Texas and working at Texas radio stations. That's Mac Tishner, David Likes, Jeff Henson, Jerry Perencio, Ray Rodriguez, along with John Kennedy, known as Doc. He's of Notre Dame, was my mentor for those 25 years, being able to achieve broadcast excellence. Particularly have to thank Alex Lopez Negrete, who is my close personal friend, is here with me today, and you might notice he had a statement about me in the program. You know, I really love the radio industry. My whole life as a teenager to today, radio. I didn't know I was going to get upset. And the on-air personality, the disc jockey, should not be lost to streaming. Radio as a personality-driven product. You know, I've never heard so many radio voices in a room before than I have today. And that is music to my ears. I love radio. I love the radio disc jockeys. You know, I always saw myself as an on-air talent first, a businessman second, and a love for people and the music that makes up the fabric of our lives, helping the community. Even now, I've gone full circle with a radio talk show with Michael Harris every Friday from 11 to 1 p.m. on KCOH 1230, except that helicopter hit the tower, pushed us to 1380. It's amazing how that happened. Just all of a sudden, we were on 1380. So I have a name of a few people, if you'll bear with me, that I want to mention that had something to do with my career. If I happen to have not mentioned your name, it's an oversight, and I apologize now. But see if you recognize some of these names. Ron Morgan, Tom T. Taylor, Sammy Allred, Jim Travis, Bobby Gold, Gordon Etherly, known on the radio as Rusty Gordon, Rick Gilzo, Jim Dodd, Jerry G, Mac Allen, Joe Ladd, Pam Ivy, Chuck Wolf, I know he's here, Buddy Cantu, George Lester, Justin Seagraves, Irma Brindis, my close personal friend, Gary Gallagher, Buffalo Bill Bailey, Steve Brightwell, Ken Moyer, Jim Ray, Ron Rogers, Hal Mayfield, Mike Bradley, Bob Kelly, Dan Blanchard, David Simmers, Ray Russell, Callie Simpson, Linda Ware, Debbie Donner, Cordy Ewing, Joan Hagan, Patty Albritton, Patty Rogers, Nick Trigoni, J.D. French, John Shedden, Mary Zarsky, Al Greenfield, Dean Hardy, John Brigeau, Gary Harmon, Barry Warner, Daryl Holly, Becky Munoz-Diaz, Mark McMillan, Mike Hake, David Saperstein, Marcos Rodriguez and his son, Mark Rodriguez, Ricardo Castillo, Chuck Brooks, Gustavo Perez, Adela Garcia Chance, who is my wife's sister, Inger Casares, Tio Pancho, Martha Prunetta, Aldi Beard, Tom Haynes, Mitch Klein, Claudia Puig, Owen Leach, David Gleason, let me take a breath, Jack Hobbs, Chris Munoz, Jerry Ryan, Eliasar Garcia, Arnulfo Ramirez, J.D. Gonzalez, Mark Macebol, Domingo Lopez, Rudy Talamantes, Keith Jacobson, John Ryan, Chris Del Rey, Raul Brindis, Eddie Piolín Sotelo, Jaime Saban, El Cucuy, Fernando Scantarelli, Jose, Enrique Iglesias, Julio Iglesias, Mark Anthony, Jennifer Lopez, Gloria and Emilio Stefan, Mickey Gilly, Johnny Lee, Stu Olds, Laura Hagan, Tim Ward, and of course, most of all, my wife, who has supported everything I've done. She always understood the job took a lot. I always felt it was 24/7. I was gone virtually every week, flying to a different market. We had 17 markets across the United States and Puerto Rico. And she always understood my job and supported and helped me in every which way. And certainly we're counting on her getting better in the future. Would everybody mind doing something for me? I didn't know I was going to do this, but I thought about it. Would you stand up just for a moment and repeat after me? This could be a little break for us here, right? If you put your hands over your head and repeat after me, I feel happy. I feel healthy. I feel terrific. I love radio. Thank you very much.